Yo, what is up, my trader warrior brothers and sisters? It's Monday, December 14th, 2020, and like I predicted, the market is off to some serious volatility. On a look at pound pairs, some potential setups we have going on there. Also, Euro AUD, which I shared in my VIP group, looking really good. Swiss yen. We have a bunch of setups for the week, and pound CAD looks really solid as well. So like I've been saying, from today and really last week until the end of this year, Christmas, of course, Christmas becomes super slow. Those last 2 days, I believe Christmas Eve is Friday. So, but until that happens, it's going to be some big volatility in the markets. You just have to find that thing that's moving right now, because like everything else is in a really tight range, but there's that one pair, like for instance, Euro USD had a big rejection today, and the banks are still moving around their capital for sure. So we're going to have a look at that. I'm going to share my chart with you. Here we go. First, let's get into some of the setups I'm looking at. Pound New Zealand. Really like this trade because, one of the big factors that I always look for are false breakdowns and false breakouts. If you can just memorize the mantra, a false breakdown typically leads to a breakout, or a false breakout typically leads to a breakdown, and learn to spot these when they happen, you can become a super, super profitable trader. We can go out here, zoom out into the daily chart, look over at where we're at, how far we've extended. One thing that I always like to do always is look left, right? So look, where has this area been affected before? And really there's a lot going on here. We've had a breakdown here, this zone, and then a push higher, and then a breakdown of this zone, and then a push higher. And so you can see as well, put a little box over here just to signify this zone. And this has been some pretty significant support over time, right? And so here's a trend line, right? And so this is just a pretty kind of crude mark of pound New Zealand, but you can see how well this area has been respected, right? And so this is the breakdown of this wedge and this support here. We have a nice little, this area, this candle here, it has high potential for retrace too. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of move lower before it move higher here. But if this area does hold out, right? So like if this area holds and this is the support that we're sitting on, I think a move higher seems super likely. And so the reason I'm betting on that in terms of New Zealand is not just like what we're at from a technical standpoint. And I was on a training call with Pete. Shout out to you, man. And we were talking about how to find these setups, and the way I typically look for them is, I like to think about what else is happening in the market right now in terms of New Zealand, right? So that's where we're at on pound New Zealand. That hadn't quite turned around, and we're sitting at a bottom here, but on the on NZDUSD, we've come to what really looks like a top. If we go into the daily chart here, we've been sitting in this oversold area for a super long time. We look over to the left, this area that we're retesting here. This imbalance in the market. And so we've been pretty maxed out on NZDUSD, right? So one push higher, second push to take out those highs while showing divergence. False breakout above, leading to a breakdown. So this has, the only downside of this is the fact that betting on the dollar to gain any strength right now, which is a pretty ambitious bet, but something very similar for NZDJPY. We can see divergent RSI here, and so like across the board, I'm thinking, man, what's going on with New Zealand, right? We're just kind of really crested this area of resistance here, which I wouldn't be surprised to see a breakdown below. And now if we do, that would be a really big deal as far in terms of a breakdown goes. But we have this throw over line here that we need to challenge and break down below. But if that does happen, not if, but, well, I was going to say not if, but when, but you know, it is still an if now, right? But if this does something like this happens, boom, boom, then that would be a big move to the downside here. So now with that logic, then I go back to pound New Zealand. That, oh, okay, what's going on here, right? We've got a lot of things. We had this wedge going on, which really was a support level for a while. We had breakdown, break back inside of here, a retest of what was the 100 or is the 127% Fibonacci extension. So from this low to the high here, consolidation, boom, breakdown. Potentially, I would like to think a false breakdown, and that's setting us up for a move higher, right? So there's the breakdown, and if this holds, then it's the pound New Zealand. Like if we break out to the upside here, this thing is going, it's going to go the distance for sure. So huge opportunity here. The risk to reward really favors on like a large scale longs. So, you know, that's the way I like to think in terms of what's going on across the board and how I got to that decision of like, oh, this is what I think is going to happen here. So for Euro Aussie, very similar. So like Aussie yen, looking for a breakdown here, similar to NZDJPY, throw over and back inside this channel. Aussie US dollar, my chart got erased here, but super similar, very similar to what's going on in NZD USD. Although Aussie has been very strong, that's for sure lately. So, but if this does decide to break down, it's going to be a pretty big breakdown. So it could be nice little double top there. So I'm gonna get distracted. But here we are with Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie is unique because we're at this massive consolidation phase here. So if we were to break down, and super high probability of that happening, it's going to be a massive breakdown because like there's not much below here to really, like, in terms of market structure, to really get us hung up until we start to get to these lower levels around the 78.6% retracement, which would be an awesome trade. But I'm really kind of thinking that the potential, and a lot of guys in our group, Daryl, shout out to you, buddy. It's also your birthday. Was thinking potential false breakdown here, and then breakout back inside this range. So this is what we're looking at. We caught a great trade today. We've came back and retested these areas here. And I think the risk for us to push higher is super high. And, you know, in terms of risk to reward, we know where we're wrong. And if we break down below here, you know, we have a big whole number of 1.60 to stop us. So there's a lot of good setups right now for sure. I particularly like these cross rates, Euro Aussie, Euro Pound, or Pound New Zealand. And I think it's going to be a super volatile week. So if we get back inside of this area here, it's going to be a big deal, right? And so we have some nice potential areas to retest here. But I think these targets up here, at least to challenge, that would mean some serious Aussie weakness and Euro strength. But I think it's definitely a possibility. So that's what I'm looking at this week. We've had an awesome day of trading. It's a ranging market right now, but it's pretty normal this time of year. So we break back above this level, it'll be time to get really bullish. And wow, we making quite a run here while I'm shooting this video. So this looks like a great setup, everybody. So if you take this at home, keep that in mind, that manage your risk and trade on the demo. If you're learning how to trade, you're getting into the swing of things. And thanks for watching. I appreciate you. If you want more information about me, my programs, if you're beginner, intermediate, advanced, doesn't really matter what level you're on, I want to see you get to that next level. And if you want to go out and get funded with outside capital, I mentor people one-on-one and help them do that. So that being said, check out the links below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.